Um, you know what? The last 9 days, 8 to 9 days has been tough. Tough for our community, tough for our country, with everything that's going on. It's been really tough, and especially emotionally tough for me because I've had to speak on it on so many platforms. And I had no clue that I would have to actually speak on the platform of, talking to young men that definitely going to be part of the next generation. So, like I said, I spoke on it so much, so I had to write it down. I hate having to look at my phone, but we're going to start like the right of every American to first-class citizenship is the most important issue of our time, right? Jackie Robinson said that, and we all know who Jackie Robinson is. We all know what he stood for. We all know what he did. We all know what he had to overcome to be able to play the game that everybody in here loves so much, right? So he had to overcome a lot. The biggest thing in our country now is equality, systematic racism, and a lot of times our white brothers and sisters really don't understand that because they just don't. I mean, because they don't have to live it. And that's understandable. That is understandable that people don't understand something. But what I would challenge you guys to do is talk to somebody that's different than you. Learn their experiences, because all our experiences in this country are completely different. I grew up in the inner city, Gary, Indiana, played 21 years in the big leagues, and my experience in the big leagues is completely different than Jeff Blum's or Sutton's. Completely different. We talk about things that I had to worry about when I left the ballpark that my teammates didn't have to worry about. At the ballpark, when I leave the stadium, I say hi to all the police officers. See you, Mr. Conway. See you tomorrow, LaTroy. When I leave there, when I leave out of my bubble, like the bubble we're in, because when you're in the big leagues, you kind of live in a bubble. But once you leave the ballpark, I had to leave that bubble. And going home at night, having to worry about if I get pulled over by a police officer. If I get pulled over by a police officer that had a bad day at home or had a bad day with another person that he came in contact with. You guys don't worry about that. How many of you have to worry about that? Getting pulled over by a police officer and being afraid if it's gonna turn aggressive, or worry about whether you're gonna live or die. You guys don't have to worry about that. So that's what we talk about when we talk about inequality. Just want it to be equal. That's it. We just want to be treated the same. When people talk about they don't see color, I think that's the biggest BS you ever could come by. We do see color. Because the first thing I see when I see you, I see that you look different from me. That's fine. I see your color, but I want to get to know your heart. I want to get to know your heart because that's what means the most to me, knowing somebody's heart. And I urge each and one of you, get to know somebody that's completely different from you, from completely different lifestyle, completely different demographics. Get to know somebody different because we understand each other better when we talk. You can't understand me if I don't talk to you. I don't get to know you if you don't talk to me. Because when we talk, we have more in common than you guys think. We have way more in common. I had 1,200 teammates, and I had something in common with each one of them. I don't care whether they came from Japan, China, Taiwan, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Mexico. Where you from, Blummer? California. I had something in common. I would have never known that had we not sat down and talked about it. We talked about it. We talked about where we're from, how you were raised as opposed to how I was raised, what I saw as a kid growing up and as a young adult. That's how you get to understand where their minds are and why they are the way they are. We talk about when people say, well, I'm not a racist. That's fine, but in the climate that we're in now, that's still not acceptable. I think what's more acceptable is you saying I'm anti-racism. Because when you say I'm anti-racism, that means when you're in a group where there's somebody who's speaking, being a bigot towards another ethnicity, you have the courage to say, why do you feel like that? Why do you feel like that? What happened to you that make you want to feel like that towards someone else? That's anti-racism. Calling out your friends, who we all have friends that are completely different from us and will say stupid shit. Excuse my language. They're going to say something stupid. Challenge them. Why do you feel like that? Why do you feel like that? Tell them you're what's wrong with this country. Because we have more in common than we don't. We have way more in common. But we'll never know it if we don't get to know each other. Last 8 days, I said, it's been very tough. It's been very, very tough. And all our experiences are completely different. Completely different. But I urge you, get to know somebody that you would never probably to know. Have conversation, ask questions. When you're trying to get to know someone, I don't think there are ever any stupid questions. Because you're speaking from the heart. Because you're speaking from, I like to use the word ignorance is curable, because when you're ignorant of something, you can be taught. When you're stupid about something, that means you don't want to learn, you've already checked out. But most of us are ignorant. And that's fine. I know it sounds crazy that we're ignorant. You call me ignorant. No, ignorance is curable. Ignorance can be cured by information. So I challenge you guys, while you're here for the next 5 days, go mingle with the other guys. There's only a handful of black guys. Get to know them. Black guys, get to know the white guys. Baseball, if everybody in our country played baseball, there probably would be no racism. Because baseball is mixed of people from all over the planet. And we get along just fine, right? We get along just fine. So that's my challenge to you. Get out of your comfort zone while you're here. Go spend some time with somebody else that don't look like you. And get to know somebody. Get to know them. All right? That's all I got. All right.
I'd give him a hug, but I'm not in the bubble, so, I'm not in the bubble yet.